The threat to national security is real, and such activities can happen all of a sudden, and different people may use different excuses to hide their intention. Hong Kong government will ensure that all activities that take place in public must be conducted within the law, and any activities that contravene the law enforcement agencies will take action accordingly.
And that was John Lee, the chief executive, speaking a short time ago when asked about the clampdown on Tiananmen commemorations. Let's bring in our Bloomberg opinion columnist, Karishma Vaswani. She sees that Beijing is successfully managing the Tiananmen narrative in all the territories it controls, and she joins us now from Singapore. And Karishma, interesting piece. You argue that the world should not forget about those terrible events 35 years ago. Why not?
Well, Yvonne, the simple answer is because it would allow the Chinese Communist Party to dictate the kind of country that China is. If you cast your mind back, 35 years ago, young men and women were on the streets in China demanding democracy, dreaming of a vision of a different country, their motherland, basically, their homeland, where they wanted to see a more liberal China come to bear. That hasn't happened. As China has become more richer, rather, I should say, it hasn't become more free. And as a result, the Chinese Communist Party has dictated the narrative of what happened in 1989. Now, up until that point, over the last 3 decades or so, where we have seen these kinds of vigils being commemorated is right in Hong Kong. But we've just heard, as your introduction pointed out, from John Lee, that these kinds of events can no longer happen because of what he calls a threat to national security. Now, I was speaking with a student leader from Tiananmen Days, Zhou Fengshou, who said to me that the anniversary has taken on even bigger importance this year, precisely because of what's happening in Hong Kong. He says the deteriorating situation in Hong Kong has meant that people need to pay more attention to what happened in Tiananmen in 1989.
So where is the anniversary being marked these days, Karishma?
Well, one key place, David, is Taiwan. Now, from my understanding, there will be key ceremonies being held there. There'll be vigils, an opportunity for people to pay their respects. And I think this is really interesting because another thing that Zhou Fengshou said to me is that what has happened in Hong Kong is what the Chinese government wants to have happen in Taiwan. Now, there will also be events around the world where Hong Kongers have gathered, in the US and the UK, for instance, but Taiwan will really be the focal point of remembrance for 1989 and what happened in Tiananmen 35 years ago. And it's an opportunity for Taiwan to also celebrate its democracy, something that obviously irks Beijing no end. I was at the Shangri-La Dialogue over the weekend where we heard from the Chinese defense minister who talked again about the sovereignty of the Chinese nation and how Taiwan is an inalienable part of China, something that obviously the Taiwanese see as quite different.